Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanishalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we'll be discussing from the last portion of the 7th chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam, the verses, the remainder of the verses of this chapter, 55, 56, 57 and 58. There are 4 more verses remaining and we will complete this in this session. The 55th verse, Suta Vacha. Now Suta Goswami is describing this whole incident, narrating this incident, historical incident, to the sages of Naimisharanya. He is telling, Arjunaha Sahasa Ajnaya Harer Hardam Athasina Manim Jahara Murdhanyam Dvijasya Saha Murdhajam. The meaning of this verse is, just then Arjuna could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders, and thus with his sword he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Ashwathama. Equivocal means ambiguous. Krishna said that you have got 2 contradictory things to be settled and you have to act appropriately. So Arjuna could understand what is Krishna's motive in giving him such a ambiguous order. You have to satisfy both Bhima and Draupadi. You should keep your promise. You should act according to the rulings of the scriptures. So what did Arjuna do? With his sword, he cut off the hair and the jewel from the head of Ashwathama. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, contradictory orders of different persons are impossible to carry out. Therefore, a compromise was selected by Arjuna by his sharp intelligence. This is where the intelligence is, one takes help of one's intelligence. Of course, here we have to understand, taking help of intelligence means intelligence directed by the super soul seated in the heart. Super soul is Krishna, Paramatma. And a devotee like Arjuna is able to take help of his intelligence because he is Krishna conscious. He is Krishna conscious. Therefore, he is able to take help of his intelligence and understand what is Krishna's direction in this regard. What should he do? Now, we should not think that we can also simply take help of our intelligence under all circumstances and do whatever is according to our judgment, using our intelligence, whatever is right, we should do that. That seems like a common sense thing to do. But we should also understand that if we are not 100% Krishna conscious, we are unable to properly utilize our intelligence the way Paramatma or Krishna directs it. Why? Because the Supreme Lord as Paramatma directs the intelligence according to our desires, according to our karma, and according to our position, whether we are devotee or non-devotee. For a devotee, Krishna, one who is 10% Krishna conscious, Krishna directly gives perfect instructions from within the heart through the intelligence. Directly Krishna gives instructions. For somebody who is a non-devotee, Krishna is neutral. He is neutral. As Paramatma, he actually considers any living being who is not Krishna conscious, ordinary people in this world, most people. Krishna will, as Paramatma, consider what is the desire of the particular person, then what is his karma based on which what he deserves, and accordingly Krishna will direct the intelligence for the person to do in a particular act in a particular way. Now supposing somebody actually desires to do something which is correct, then if his karma is to not do things right because of his previous sinful activities, then the direction will be given to do something wrong and not the right thing. So he will not get the correct direction through the intelligence, even though he wants to do something right. You see, his desire is to do things right, but his karma is to do something wrong, and therefore the intelligence will work in doing something wrong. Now consider the other case. Somebody doesn't actually know what is to be done, whether it is right or wrong, but his karma is that he should do the right thing. His karma is he should be doing the right thing because he's a pious person. He doesn't have sinful reaction of doing the wrong thing. So then he is given the proper direction by the intelligence because of his karma. And his desire is to do the right thing, and he is not sure what to do. He is not sure what to do. He is seeking direction. So when we seek direction, we refer our intelligence. So he is directed to do the right thing. So Paramatma will always consider the desire, the karma, and accordingly it is according to the laws that are working, laws of nature. There is no partiality. There is no partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. It's less like a programmed machine. It works regardless of who operates. According to the program, according to the way it is designed, it will work. So, when we are not Krishna conscious, we cannot always be sure, even if we want to do the right thing, we can't always be sure we'll be able to do the right thing. Therefore, the real way to ensure that we always do the right things and never do any sinful activity, never commit any mistake in our life, is to become completely Krishna conscious. That's the only way, because we are very, very, very tiny. As spirit soul, individual spirit soul, we are very tiny. We are subject to influence of the illusory energy, and under the influence of the illusory energy, if the mode of goodness is acting, then there is knowledge and proper direction. Enlightened state, there is proper direction to do the right things. In the mode of passion, we are confused. In the mode of ignorance, we do always the wrong things. So these gunas are always interacting and producing so many effects. Sometimes Sattva-guna dominates, sometimes Rajoguna dominates, sometimes Tamoguna dominates. So it is very, very difficult under the influence of the gunas to always do the right thing. There is no guarantee. So therefore, the Shastras say, if you want to do the right things, you should actually rise above the gunas. How can you rise above the gunas? How can you be situated without influence, without being affected by the influence of the gunas? You should come to the spiritual platform, above the material platform of the three gunas. And to come to that spiritual platform is possible only if you engage in pure devotional service. This is told in the Bhagavad Gita. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So here Arjuna, he separated the jewel from the head of Ashwathama and also cut off his hair. Now this was as good as cutting off his head, and yet his life was saved for all practical purposes. See how Arjuna actually was able to satisfy both Draupadi's request to save his life and Bhimasena's suggestion that Ashwathama should be killed. So certainly Ashwathama is twice born, because he is indicated here as Dvija. Dvijasya sahamurdhajam. Dvija, he is twice born. And he is twice born, but he fell down from his position, and therefore he was properly punished. So, the 56th verse, Vimuchya Rashanabadham Balahatya Hatam Prabham Tejasa Manina Hinam Shibiran Nirayapayat. He had already lost his bodily luster due to infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. He was unbound and driven out of the camp. 57th verse, Vapanam Dravina Adanam Sthanan Niryapanam Tatha Eshahi Brahma Bandhunam Badho Nanyo Asti Daihikaha. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for the relative of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. So Arjuna did not kill him, but at the same time he cut his hair from his head, deprived him of his wealth, his jewel was taken away, and driving him from his residence, he was driven out of the camp. So these are prescribed punishments, and Arjuna gave those proper punishments. The last verse, 58th verse of this chapter, the closing verse. Putra shokatura sarve pandava saha krishnaya swanam mrutanam yat krityam chakrur nirharana adikam. The meaning of this verse, the last verse. Thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives. So they undertook the duty of performing the rituals for the departed souls. And that is the end of this chapter. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.